It's Friday, and I'm back with the next in our Fanzine Friday series. Today we're taking a look at Miser's Hoard number 8. Please stick around. I'm AZ Mountaineer. This is our channel, Old School Rules, where we celebrate the community of old school gamers and grognards who like classic RPGs, miniatures, magazines, and everything that goes with it. Each week on the Fanzine Friday series, I take a fanzine from my collection off the shelf for a closer look. Today it's Miser's Hoard number 8 from 1984. Hope you enjoy the video. So today we wrap up our look at this fanzine. It's been a lot of fun. This is from the United Kingdom. John McKeown is clearly the driving force. A couple issues ago, he said he was going to try and turn this over to some other folks. They just sort of disappear. And in this one, he says basically that he had to do this one by himself, although he did get articles from other people. I think that putting the actual fanzine together was work that fell completely on his shoulders. He says he's leaving. He hopes that the Sussex University Games Club will take this up, that he's interested in starting a new publication called The Apostle, which, if I read correctly, sort of focuses on just the people who are playing in his like play-by-mail game. In any event, this is the end for Miser's Hoard, so let's take a look. Here's the cover. It's, I think, Cthulhu themed, and Tim Pollard is the artist. That's the only art he contributes here is just the cover. And if you stick around to the end, again, Hudson Shaw and some other good art, and we'll take a look at that at the end just because it's fun. But so here, if you can see on the drawing, there's a little boat that's tipped over as this giant beast comes up out of the water. Really cool. The only thing that surprised me was it says no connection to anything that's inside the fanzine at all. It's just cool art. That's okay. So the editorial, I kind of already mentioned what he had, and as you can see here, several long articles, but not obviously a whole lot, and the contributions, obviously, as you can see, not that many contributors involved as well. This is the three Johns. John Wilson, John Watkins, and John Withers contribute content here, and then we have artists. Tim Pollard just does the cover. Hudson Shaw, I think, only has one drawing in here, and Phil Tortorici and Fox, whoever that is, have a few illustrations. These articles we're all going to talk about, so let's just dive into it. A funny thing happened on the way to the temple is a solo D&D adventure. I like it. It's several pages long, and it's very common lead-in. Okay, second to third level characters, and obviously just one. I always think you could read these things and then modify them a little if you like them to make them into an adventure for your home campaign. Maybe you have to add more monsters, make it a little tougher. But you know, it's not just combat, right? There are traps and other things to figure out here. But so here's the lead-in. On your last adventure, an old friend was slain. In his last breath, he says, "Please take this to my brother." He tells you where he lives and gives you 10 gold pieces. That happens to be on the way of where you're headed anyway, so you do a little detour along the way, and you're going to go look for him. He's at the Temple of Tora in the city of Pal Pindar, and off you go. After a couple days' travel, you reach the crest of a hill, look down upon the city. Pal Pindar is a small place at the bottom of a valley. A river flows out from the base of the hill, and you can see the temple just a couple of blocks past the market. You walk down the road, cross the river, and arrive at the city gate. As a stranger, you are charged 2 gold pieces for admission. Now you're down to 8. You can see the market ahead and walk into the city. And so now you're going to go here to the first thing. I'll read this to you. Okay, so the market is bustling, and through the crowd you can see a fortune teller's tent, a shop selling religious items, a weapon shop, and north is the road to the temple, and you notice a manhole cover is ajar under one of the stalls. And there are your 4 choices, and off you go. So a lot of fun to be had in this adventure. And so now we have John Withers, and he has what's called a medieval power game. This is like a game that he designed, and it's put into the fanzine. Okay, I like it. It would be fun to try and figure out and play it. I have no idea. It seems like it could be a lot of fun. I mean, I almost wonder whether to take this thing to a convention sometime and just for one time, run it and see what the heck happens. It would be something completely different for people to play. So you're all characters within the hierarchy of a sort of a medieval feudal area, and the goal is to become the king. And you do that by working with other players, and then to the extent there are 22 spots, and to the extent you don't have 22 players, you put little miniatures down to mark or any kind of counter to mark the other players. And so basically you need to take out people who are higher up than you and then move up and take their place. You have level 1 officers, level 2, level 3, and then you have the king. And essentially, like I said, you can conspire with other people. You can sort of say you're going to conspire with other people and betray them and actually work with somebody else. The biggest challenge, it seems to me, in the game is giving people enough time to talk to different people and make their decision without it becoming like, half an hour, 45 minutes between every turn, right? But so you have some period of time to talk and conspire, and then you write down what you're actually going to do, which is you stay home in your home base place within the kingdom, or you move to any other person's spot. And if more than one person's on the spot, and that person might have left, but if you end up more than one person on a spot, then there's the option of combat. And so you might get 2 people to go, and you might fight 2-on-1 against this guy to take him out. You might think you're going to be 2-on-1, and you get there, and the other guy was lying to you and didn't go there. And so it seemed like it could be really fun if you got some creative people who could understand the gist of the game and get into it. Here is the map. It's sideways, right? But the kings, it doesn't matter where they are. It's just so you can see the different, and it has their titles. And if I was going to do it, I'd color code it. So the level 1s would be yellow, the level 2s would be light blue, the level 3s would maybe be, pink, and then the king would be green or whatever. Just so you could make it easy to know the levels. And you get a certain amount of income from each level, each day or each turn. And there are places you can go. You can buy better armor or better weapons, daggers, swords. And you can buy a shield. So there's a couple little things like that you can do. You can bribe people. You can give money to someone else. Say, hey, I'll give you 50 coins if you come with me to help take this guy out, and etc. So, and you have to you make notes about what you're actually going to do, right? And then everyone sort of flips it over at once. And if you move to that spot. If there's going to be combat, you resolve it. If someone higher up gets taken out, then people basically the next level down are going to move into that spot, and people would vote to see who gets to move into the spot. I'm simplifying it a little bit, but that's the gist of it. It seems like it could be a fun game. I mean, I don't know. Maybe only I think so, and it could definitely go off the rails, and you could get 1-2 turns in, and people are like, I don't really know what's going on. But with the right mix of people, I think it could be fun. Okay, then we have John Watkins, and this is friend or foe. A RuneQuest scenario, and I don't play RuneQuest, so I don't understand the details as much. He says 8 characters of lay or initiate status, best attack no more than 60%, no more than 10 points of stored power, 8 points of battle magic. So this scenario, the players are contacted by Shalera, High Priestess of Chalana Arroy at Alarmiesville. You'll remember that from an earlier issue, Miser Hoard number 5. And she tells you that the Rune Lord of Orlanth Adventurous wishes to hire you. So I'm going to simplify. You go to this place, there's a temple. You're told the temple came under attack. Only a couple people got out of the temple. There's some evil spirit in there that's maybe been captured. This priest who's looking for you says, I can give one of the players like a spell that'll protect you from some of the spirit magic, and I need you to go in and find this statue which has all kinds of power, and one of which would be, I think, it kind of combined or help you defeat the spirit. That's long story short. It's clearly like a one evening game. There's some facts that you don't know. Let's just say that you didn't get good information or you didn't get complete information, and so there's stuff that you're going to be surprised by when you get there. I thought it was pretty well designed. I like the thoughtfulness of layering in these surprises, and then the players are going to think they're going to go do one thing. They think they have a plan, but when they get there, the plan's going to have to change. They're going to have to think on their feet and come up with another good way to combat this creature. Seems like, or else the creature could kill you. So, I was like, a little danger. And then finally, we have an idea article, The Bounds of Magic by John McKeown, the editor. And what he's got this theory, right? So the DMG says that magic users are tapping into an alternate universe or plane, right, and drawing energy from there to use their spells. And Dungeon Quest, Dragon Quest has something similar. And his idea is that there's mana, that there's this magical energy. He gets all kinds of metaphysical, like people are born with a certain amount of meta sort of is in sort of like the Force in Star Wars is in living things. There's places that are stronger locations, and there are places that are weaker. And the main idea, I think, is, he says, in cities or places where lots of people live, the mana has sort of been used up. And so the further you get from civilization, the more mana would be available. And his concept is that you mark off your world map, sort of like cartography. It's simplified with the circles, but the one on the right is a better example. And so you've got places that inside this circle is a 4, inside this circle is a 6 and 8 or whatever. And so you've got layers of magical power, essentially. And the weaker I think I've got this right. The weaker the layer of magical power, the weaker your ability to cast magic. So if you're standing in a 1 zone, maybe you can only cast first level spells. There's not enough mana to get a hold of to craft this really powerful spell. You've got to go out, to some faraway place to do that. He said maybe magic users have the ability to gather it. If they take a long enough time, they can sort of just pull it in and absorb it and hold it and build up for it. But the general idea is that there are weak places where magic doesn't work. Not just for magic users, also doesn't work for magic fantastic creatures like dragons. And so he's got this example here, 1, 2, 3, and so the 1 is the worst, right? Inside that little tiny circle, a dragon can't even exist. If they go in there, if a magical creature or enchanted creature goes into a dead area, they turn to stone. Now they're not permanent, and he said maybe they're just paralyzed, maybe they're still conscious, maybe they can recover, but anyway, that's the idea. They're completely without any magic, they're sort of like just dead or paralyzed or whatever. Then the second layer, right, dragons can't fly, so they would fly. If they flew across that line, they just couldn't fly anymore, and they would just start to sink. The bigger circle, it's a 3. Inside of there, dragon's breath weapon doesn't work. And he said he's got some ideas, all kinds of different, whether it's undead or enchanted creatures, the kind of things that they would lose their powers. But it's the same thing for magic users. So this is his idea. Honestly, to simplify it and have dead zones, I like that idea. To take my entire campaign world and get out a pencil and draw like a cartography map, and that's, to me, over the top. But everybody's got their own flavor of that. But the idea, I think, has some interest. I might just find a reason why there's a dead zone and let that be the unusual thing that players have to work their way around or solve the mystery of, and either figure out how to survive or maybe bring magic back to the dead zone, depending on whether it's like a cavern or maybe it's a whole region, whatever. But that's his general concept. I sort of stick with Gary, the Vancian magic. I don't do the mana, I don't do the spell points kind of concept, but I still do like this idea of, again, for me, maybe magic is generally worked, but then there may be areas where it's either dead zones. Remember, towards the end, I think of 2E, Dungeons and Dragons, they had this concept of wild magic, which I always thought was kind of fun. The idea that you've got these, wizards' ability to tap. They can't always control what's going to happen, and there I think you had a D20 or D100 roll you would make, and weird stuff could happen to your spells. Anyway, let's look at some art. This is Hudson Shaw, Jabba the Duck. This guy really loves the Daffy Duck or the Donald Duck kind of drawings, but so he's got this Jabba the Hutt with a duck face and his little helper with a duck face. And then this is F, I think, stands for Fox. This is a cleric turning some undead. And then here's a guy who pops up and says, "So I don't exist, do I?" Like his character, right, comes to life and scares the person. And then here's Fox is drawn. This sort of common idea, I'll slide over, which is dragons or monsters playing D&D, maybe in reverse, playing like they're humans or whatever. But you got a couple of dragons and a werewolf there, and probably an imp playing a role-playing game. Here's some art. I'm not sure who did this. I'm actually not even sure if it was original or they copied this out of something. And then there's a little Fox has got this hand-drawn Gandalf-looking wizard back here who's just a little random piece of art next to the subscription. And then finally, I really like this. This is fun, right? Look at the wizard that Fox has drawn here. He's conjuring up his cloud, and he's zapping some lightning bolts down at the keep. This is in the article with the dead zone magic. I don't know if it's supposed to tie in or not, but anyway, I just like the drawing. So that's it. That's it for Miser's Hoard number 8. That's it for Miser's Hoard altogether. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series talking about Miser's Hoard. I hope you're enjoying our fanzine videos, and I hope that you all are subscribed. If you know anyone who might enjoy our content, please send them our way, and hopefully they will be subscribers as well. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And until next time, my friends, keep rolling 20s.